Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Radio Northampton. I'm your host, John Savastano, and with me today is a gentleman who has been with us in the past, who has a very big smile on his face, our fire chief, Jason Lajoie. Jason, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Well, obviously, good things come to those who wait, and finally, we have ourselves a new public safety center coming in. Can you give us some details? Obviously, it's been a long, frustrating journey. But finally, we have a new safety center, and of course, that includes your end of the business, the
Sure.
fire department.
Yes, sir. We are very excited. This has been a long time coming, and we're so excited to see this finally moving forward, and to bring our department up to modern standards. And it's great for the employees to finally be in a facility that they're going to be able to conduct regular training in, finally be afforded the ability to properly decontaminate themselves following fires and things of that nature. There's a lot of things that we've been struggling with for years that we have not had. So finally we're going to be getting that. And again, the prospect of being able to provide this for our employees currently and any employees that we're looking to hire in the future, that's something that we can finally compete with other communities with.
That's a very important item. And of course, you're talking about some very important intricacies of the operation itself, like you said, decontamination, such like that. My mind went to the fact that there's going to be a big apparatus bay.
Yes.
With plenty of room to put a lot of toys.
Correct.
Can you tell us about that?
Certainly. So currently, we've got a fleet of 9 vehicles, and some of those vehicles, this ranges from the smaller SUV style command staff vehicle all the way up to an engine or a tanker truck. For the last 20 years, we've had one of our vehicles always outside because we just had the lack of space in the apparatus bay. That would be our utility truck, which, even though it's a pickup truck, it does play a vital role. It has a plow on it. It affords the ability to have our staff members clean out the current complex of snow. It plows out fire hydrants, and most importantly, during snowstorms, we have to gain access to residential driveways. And so if anybody has a medical call or a fire, the only way we're going to be able to get into somebody's residence is by plowing our way through. So for years we've struggled with this piece of apparatus being stuck outside. Just like anybody else that doesn't have a garage, we have to contend with the snow that's on top of it. And on top of that, we've had, it's been exposed to the elements.
Sure.
So what we've seen over the last few years is premature corrosion due to, salt and things of that nature, where we've had to expend funds that weren't really anticipated in repairs because of the corrosion. So finally, we're going to be able to be keeping all of our apparatus inside, ready for an emergency, which is really what the town deserves to have, is us, able to respond at a second's notice.
So this will include all vehicles, including the staff command cars.
Yep.
And the surfboard.
And the surfboard. So, it's funny that you say that, but yeah, we're ready for water rescues and anything of that nature. So everything is going to be housed inside. It's going to be protected. That affords the town the longevity in vehicles, where we're able to better maintain and protect them over a lifespan.
Yeah, and that'll change the, I don't say the complexion, but the longevity of the vehicles themselves.
Absolutely.
Having a home nice inside at room temp and always spanking clean, as we know, because they always look great.
Exactly.
They always look great. The one thing I always want to do is come over and finish it off and armor all the tires, but that's it.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. All right, so if you gave us a quick breakdown, will there be like an emergency operations center?
Yes.
Obviously, living facilities, kitchen. The breakdown should be an incredible improvement in all facets.
Yes,
right?
All facets, correct. So, aside from the apparatus bay, one thing that's going to be included in the apparatus bay that we've never had before is indoor training, an indoor training facility. So, we have to train on a daily basis, and right now we don't have that. We haven't had it for years, and I can tell you, being there for 20 years now, we've lost employees over that time period where they knew that other departments had modern facilities where they could actually conduct regular training drills. The training that we can do currently in our facility would be outside. So we've got to contend with the elements. We've got to contend with a parking lot that is experienced with daily traffic, with regular town business and so on. So we've got training that we can do. We've got a decon facility in the bay. And then we've got adequate storage facilities for our medical supplies and things of that nature. The rest of the building, yes, it does have an emergency operations center. Currently, as we all know, that we use the Mary B. Herbert room, which is a multifunction room. This is going to be a dedicated emergency operations facility, which is going to be fantastic for the town. And that is also a multifunction room, as it also has a fire training classroom as well as a police training classroom for both departments. So it's a great use of space. This is, again, an incredible opportunity for the department to finally have adequate educational facilities, training facilities on top of our living conditions have greatly improved, where we're now just, we're not competing with one bunk room with 3 bunks in there for one gender. We now have separate facilities, so we can finally offer accommodations for both genders. So this is such a huge step for the town.
And I know for a fact, of course, in the we call the Mary Herbert room, when the TV station was shut down at the school, we had to go somewhere.
Yep. And
we had nowhere to hold meetings. Obviously, it's very cramped for just television production alone.
Exactly.
And we had to go streaming live. We had to run a cable from upstairs down into the room because it has no... And a lot of enhancements will automatically be taken care of, I assume, and it should be approved. Might I recommend, though, like we have here, the folding mobile training tables, which allow you to do a lot of different things and such like that. So
right. No, good
That's
point.
really great. That's great. Okay, we're going to take a little break here for some community notes, Jason, and we'll be back to ask you some more questions and find out some cool things.
All right, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome back to Radio Northampton. I'm John Savastano, and with us our very special guest today, Jason Lajoie, Chief of the Northampton Fire Department. Chief, I wanted to speak about one other thing, which is different from the construction exactly, but I wanted to go off to talking about the success in your grant applications,
Sure.
which have been highly successful. Mark Cook has done a super job, and so can you talk about that a bit, and then maybe some things that have come to fruition or have been purchased from those?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. You are right. Deputy Mark Cook has been instrumental in getting the department and the town some grant-funded equipment. And I'd say right now what's totaling over just about $150,000 worth in grant funding that we've received. And that's gone from, small devices as far as, tools that we carry on a regular basis on a fire engine. It could be like a hazardous materials gas meter, things of that nature. Up into most recently, we've received an air compressing system for breathing air. So we can actually fill our air bottles in our fire station, where for years past we've had to go to other fire departments in order to accomplish that following a fire. So that also precluded us from being able to do training in-house, because we have to train with our air bottles or our air packs on. And so guys are breathing off the air. They're going through a multitude of bottles just to accomplish their training. And then next thing you know, we've got 10, 15 bottles that we need to go fill up, but we have to travel to either Hampton or Rye in order to do that, which would mean taking guys out of town in order to go do that. And then we were relying on area fire departments to be able to provide that service for us, and having to work around their emergencies at the same time. So we can finally do that in-house, thanks to Deputy Cook in getting that grant. And as we were discussing before, we had a vehicle for years that was stored outside, and we saw some premature corrosion. All of our vehicle replacement is part of our capital improvements plan, and that the funding for replacement of a utility vehicle was going to be a few years from now. And I had some great concern that this vehicle wasn't even going to last that far, just because of the rate of corrosion that we were seeing. So Deputy Cook had actually put in for a grant, and lo and behold, we received another grant for a brand new utility truck. So it's going to be a Ford 250 that's going to be coming sometime in the fall of 22. And again, we're saving just over $50,000 in tax and taxable money that the taxpayers would normally have to pay for a piece of apparatus. We've now taken that and paid for that out of this grant. So we've got that coming, and other equipment. I'm trying to think off the top of my head here what else we've got. It's basically equipment that we carry on the fire apparatus, and but the two big ticket items were the air compressor for the breathing air for our air bottles, and then that utility truck. So
okay, maybe I'm confused. Was any of the infrared equipment part of that?
Yeah, so that was the other thing was it's called a thermal imaging camera. So we do carry that on the engine, and that helps locate victims that are trapped in a fire in a smoke-filled environment that we normally have to go, but when we're crawling into a building, staying low to the ground, protected from the heat and the smoke. That's where all your best visibility, if any, is that's why we crawl low to the ground, and we're trying to locate victims that way. We now have this. We've had it in the past, but the technology just keeps improving, and to stay with that technology is constantly replacing that equipment, which does get very costly. So we can look forward for these grant opportunities, and that's exactly what Deputy Cook has done. So we again have a modern thermal imaging camera that we can take in when we're attempting a rescue of a trapped victim in a building. And we have used that on calls, and it's just these grants have been so supportive of our mission, and we just keep getting better and better with the equipment that we've got, with the personnel that we've hired, their professional abilities. And I'm so confident in saying that this department is one of the most well-equipped and most professional in the area.
I agree. And obviously a lot of people may not understand the reach that you have, your responsibility of reach right out to Route 95. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we do it all from water rescues. We were talking about the surfboard earlier. So, we are well equipped. We have rope rescue abilities. We do our fair share of motor vehicle crashes on the interstate, as well as all the roadways that we have in town. I think people would be really surprised to know that we've got 80,000+ vehicles that travel through town every day. So a lot of those vehicles are transporting hazardous materials and things of that matter through town that we have to be ready and responsible for. So again, we're well equipped, and our responsibilities are so diverse in what we protect here.
Yeah. I want to jump back for a minute to the construction and the timeline that would be involved in the center itself. Now, we know that probably, most likely, the administration building will sort of ease the time frame there. Once that's done, you're going in. But what is the general time frame that you see? That's
a good question. I think preliminarily we're looking at, I think it's a 4 to 5 month build for the town offices, renovating the old library building, and the construction of that wing. I think that's going to be going on to that. When groundbreaking is for that, I'm not exactly sure. I can tell you for the public safety building, they're looking at possibly breaking ground in October, with an expected completion date of December of 23. So it looks like it's going to be a 14-month build of the public safety building.
Okay. And it's funny, we were talking earlier off in between community notes about, I get a lot of questions. People sort of ask us because we're inextricably tied
Right.
to the scene. They see in the shopping, hey, what do you know about this or what do you know about this? I says,
Yep.
well, I don't really know how far it's coming out to the street, but I assume it has to go that way.
Right.
Well, we see, we've seen pictures and says, how's it going to fit? And I said, well, it's going to.
Yep. Exactly.
And I would assume there is a move towards
There
the
is.
street.
Correct.
Yeah.
There is a move. Exactly how many feet towards Atlantic Avenue, I can't think off the top of my head, but I think it's, safe to say we could see it, where the current fire station sits. I would plan on, going out an additional close to 30 to 50 feet towards Atlantic Ave to be able to fit the new proposed building there. And again, it is a two-story building. So all the administrative offices will be on the first level along with the apparatus bay, with the additional living areas are going to be on the second floor. So it will fit. It's the same footprint. I know according to the drawing it looks like it's extremely large, but it's important to remember that we've had professionals looking at this, and this week they had land surveyors out there, and they're doing what they're doing, and getting ready for this. And they knew that they had a very small footprint to work within, and so when they looked at what they had to work with, they proposed a general floor plan to see if that floor plan would meet our needs before moving on, and we saw that what they were proposing was would in fact fit everything that we needed for today, and then carrying us into the next 50 to 75 years.
Yeah, that's excellent. It's funny, in the old days, and I say the old days when I was a kid, something that was being built, they built a balsa wood model,
Right.
and they put it in a case so that wherever your building was or whatever, you could go in and sort of like feel and see and not touch it, but it was there like that. And now I just happened to go online myself and said, they'll take anything you have,
Yep.
3D model it out of a heavy cardboard or whatever, to and again, 3D, it's just phenomenal modeling.
Yeah.
And ship it to you, snap it together, and you have it, for events, or you have it for reference, or you have it for. So the little things that we look into here at
Right.
the Channel 22 Research Division.
Exactly. Yes.
So one other thing I wanted to talk about before we sum up with your thoughts was getting an idea of the department status. How many firemen do we have?
Yep.
How many are doing? Just what is a normal day, if there is a normal day in the fire world?
Yeah.
That
So
you can give us.
certainly. So we have a total of 14 personnel full time, and then we're supplemented by 2 on-call firefighters. So during the daytime, there are a staff of 5 full-time people working. That would be the chief, the deputy chief, and then your fire lieutenant and 2 firefighters. So 24/7, we always have a staff of 3 that are working. And so our engine, if we have to respond to a fire, has a minimum of 3 personnel on it. For medical calls, we'll see an ambulance respond with 2. We have a paramedic on duty 24/7. There's a couple of shifts that we do have 2 paramedics on. So we're always able to provide advanced life support to our residents and visitors of town. A typical day, it can vary. This morning we had a call for a chest pain, so somebody was suffering a major heart attack. We were able to respond immediately. We were on scene in less than 2 minutes. We're able to provide advanced treatment right then and there. We're able to transport them to the hospital. We have seen some very sick people in town. It's something that's not advertised. It's just the nature of the business for us. So, when it comes to medical calls, we see a wide variety. We do have some critically ill and injured patients that we often encounter, and we do have the best of the best taking care of them. When it comes to fires, again, we've got a quick response. We're able to put fires out quickly before they end up becoming much larger. So we don't often hear about fires that occur in town, and it's for that reason. We can respond immediately, and what starts off as a small event, we keep it as a small event. That's not always the case, obviously, but for the most part, a quick response with quick extinguishment is what is key. to providing the protection of property and saving lives.
Yeah. And lastly, before I get your comments, I can remember that. By the way, I still have the 2-piece pill in my refrigerator, written out, and I know that flew for a little while, but I said, I got to tell you, I still have that pill with all your medical information and such like that. So that sort of ties in with that.
Yep.
Any thoughts that you have about the present, the future? Obviously, we know what the following, at least till December of 23 holds.
Sure.
It's going to be the mystique of the new approach and the new building and stuff like that.
Exactly. So I think what's important for everybody to know is there is going to be that transition period where we're going to be moving into a temporary facility. The town is still working on finalizing that, so I can't really speak as to where fire and police departments are going to be located temporarily, but we are confident that we're going to be in a very good location. And what I really want to stress to the residents of town is that they're not going to see any disruption in the services that they're going to get from either the fire or the police department. Our ability to be able to continue providing the top-notch service that we provide, it's always going to be there. We've worked with our area communities just to make sure that mutual aid is going to be there at all times, which it always is. I just want to make sure that area chiefs are aware that they do know that we're getting a new facility. They do know that we're going to be in a temporary location for about a year and a half, and everyone is willing to step up if there's going to be any times of transition that might be a challenge. For instance, there's going to take a couple of days where we're going to be moving where our communications may be down, but that's very easily remedied by our phone calls being forwarded to, let's say, the Hampton Fire Department. So they may be dispatching for us for a period of time, receiving those emergency calls, and then advising us over the radio so we can still respond immediately. So operationally, we're going to be there, without delay. And nobody needs to worry about, any lack of service coming from us during that transition or the temporary location for us. So,
okay. Well, one other thing we sort of pitched in and said, something we had an idea of, and we did this for the library, was we either sent a drone up every 2 weeks during the construction to put together a video at the end on the whole thing. Although suggested the other night at the select board meeting that we install a time-lapse camera. For the construction, which would really enhance a lightning quick, how long it takes, a year and a half, whatever it's going to take, of construction, and as a keepsake and a something you can put away and take a look at and have as a reference,
Absolutely.
Something like that. Chief, last question.
Yes, sir.
You've had 3 years to either hire a new basketball coach or to find taller firemen in the draft. Because when the game resumes between police and fire, what are we looking forward to out of the fire department?
I can say that we've got some taller players. So it looks like the coach is still going to be the same, but I think for the quality of player that's going to be there, I think the police need to be ready this time around.
Okay, that sounds good. We can't wait to get it on the TV either. Jason, I want to thank you. As usual, you've been a very informative guest.
Thank you for inviting me.
On a very important job. And kudos to the entire staff because they are the heartbeat of the town of Northampton.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
And we'll be back with more of Radio Northampton after this. We'd like to thank our guest, Chief Jason Lajoie of the Northampton Fire Department, for joining us today. And we're looking forward to all the exciting events happening that are going to lead up to the culmination of a long-time project finally here, which is the Public Safety Center for the town of Northampton. So for the entire broadcast crew of Channel 22 and Radio Northampton, I'm John Savastano. We'll talk to you next time.